What's up, homies?
Sorry, I'm getting hydrated.
Oh crap, I just realized I never filled my water bottle. Oh well.
Fill it
C'est la
up.
vie.
Stay hydrated.
C'est la vie. We ball. We ball. That's what we
We
do.
ball.
We just ball. Hello everybody. Welcome back to another Hungry for Knowledge with me, the Yukis. Today I have TJ or Pascal, however you prefer to call them. As long as you call them a them, that's what matters to me.
It's the only part. It's the only part that matters. I'm one of them. They're they thems. Don't forget it.
But I'll let them kind of introduce themselves and let you know what you can expect from them on their content.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, Yuki. I really appreciate it. Yeah, like it was said, my name is TJ or Pascal, whichever you prefer. I am a VCat. I'm a virtual cat. My face is virtual. I got a real head under here, but you can't see it. It's fine. But I am a VTuber, a an artist, and I am also a full time human resources professional in my day to day work, which a lot of people don't expect. And then I also do a little bit of nonprofit freelancing, helping out some different nonprofits with some stuff that they got going on. But that about sums me up. I have ostensibly like 4 jobs. It's fine.
All I'm hearing is that we got an all around good person here. Well,
Oh, more
fluffball,
crime.
whichever they
More
prefer.
crime.
So, how long have you been streaming slash content creating, and what originally made you interested in it?
Yeah, I think I want to say I started streaming about a year and a half ago. I think so. I had made a Twitch so long ago. I don't even remember. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try streaming. Why not? I'm gonna just have a good time. And I started off just I had a little webcam, and I just started playing games. I made my own little overlay in Photoshop. I was like, I don't know how to do this. It's fine. And I had like nothing to start with. I had just like a little box for chat. But I thought I really don't even know why I started. I think it was just the cool thing to do at the time. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a cool kid. I want to be cool. I want to be like insert popular streamer here. Who is a streamer that I was like really into? I don't even know. Because back then I didn't really know Germa. I think the only one I was really aware of was maybe Vine Sauce. And I was like, playing games with people around looks like fun. So that's kind of why I started, but kind of evolved into something a little bit more than that, I think. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I feel like that's where a lot of us come from is just the opportunity to grow our circle of friends or just learn a little bit more about the world, if you will. Like, I know I started purely out of an opportunity to meet more people. So that's what
Yeah.
devolved my chaotic streams where I scream and gamer rage into a talk show about people.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
it's a big social connector. I mean, streaming you meet so many new people, and I mean, I've made so many new friends just in the last like 6 months alone. I've mentioned it a couple times on my stream. And coming from somebody who like lives by themselves, it's been a huge way for me to like bridge that gap where I don't really get a lot of like outside social interaction. I live so far from my friends and things like that. So this is a good way for me to kind of, stay in contact with people, see what they're doing, support them, and there's a lot of really cool people out there. you know.
Definitely. And I mean, I get that wholeheartedly, man. Like, I came out of high school not remembering anyone because I didn't want to remember anyone. And I went into life just kind of going through the motions. I live with two other people. Do I want to talk to them most of the time? No.
No. Nope.
But I always have my online little circle of friends that span the freaking earth now, I swear. It's crazy. They're all over the place. And I would have never had the opportunity to discover all of them without this. That's what
That's
vtubing gave me is a stinky lion man.
That's how you know it's a good friendship, though. I mean, even if you don't talk every day, like, and you still are like tight as hell, like, that's how you know.
That's something that I think really needs to be spread around a lot too, is like uh, the aggressive almost social interaction that's come out of people being online so much, or people vtubing and wanting to collab and that kind of stuff. We all need to take a moment to realize that we're going to talk to each other when we want to. So I can sit
Right.
here and not talk to my friend for like a month, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, I wonder how they're doing. I'll shoot them a message, and I just call them a stinky cow and tell them to drink water, and that's our interaction. That's fine. We
Yeah,
love it.
well, and the older you get too, I mean, there's so many responsibilities that you have to take on the older you get, and you know, you got to understand that teenagers are a lot more online and
My
socially
old
connected than adults are.
bros.
so, so, you know, there's a point where you got to start realizing, like, okay, this person they got bills, they got, you know, life things. You
Mm,
know, some older VTubers and streamers, they have kids, they're married
yeah.
or whatever. So you know, it's not going to be a case where they can just drop something and be like, let's get on Discord, let's play a game together, whatever. And you know, they may have other things going on, and that's okay.
A
It's
lot of
totally fine.
people really forget, I think, too, that I feel like a large majority of the most popular streamers out there are in their 30s, like, and a
Hmm.
lot of them have a family, and like they do this on the side, and that's where I'm thinking about just making a whole ass video about it, because I have so many things to say about parasocial relationships, and how awful and beautiful they are.
Yeah, there's two sides to it, definitely, for sure.
And we can't all feed into a parasocial relationship the same way as the person next to us. Like, so that's something that I've been meaning to chat about,
Yeah.
but that's neither here nor there. This is a show about you. Um, what is something that really stands out for you that you think people can expect when they come to see your content?
Um. Well, number one, me being really bad at video games. So that's one thing. I think some people, I've actually had people come into my stream like right now, as you were witness to. I am playing my very first Zelda game. I
Yeah.
never played a Zelda game ever before in my entire life, so I'm playing Ocarina of Time for the first time. And last stream I had to put up a like no backseating thing because I was like, let me try to figure things out a little bit
Yeah.
on my own first. And like normally I'm fine with backseating. It doesn't bother me too much. I'm just like, whatever, tell me whatever you want to do because otherwise I'm gonna be here for 10 years. Um, so, but this time I really wanted to experience it organically, and I think people when they join my stream, they're expecting like like the speedrunner tactics. They're like, you totally know what you're doing, right? I'm like, no, I'm playing Zelda with a PlayStation controller. What do you mean? Like, I've never played this before. I don't know what I'm doing. So I am not a professional gamer by any means. I've always been a very casual gamer. So when you come into my stream expecting like pro strats, you're gonna be disappointed. So that's number one. but other than that, number two, I really like to subvert the cozy streamer kind of niche that's been building up recently. Everybody's like, I'm a real cozy streamer. I'm real chill. Come get cozy, get your blankets, get your coffee or tea, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm freaking loud. I'm gonna keep you awake. If you fall asleep to me, that's incredible. I I like to yell sometimes because I get mad. We laugh a lot, you know. So I am not. I mean, if I am cozy to somebody, then God bless them. But like, I don't market myself as a cozy streamer. I market myself as a little bit chaotic and high energy as much as I can be. Every now and then, if I'm tired, we'll have kind of a lower key stream. But in general, I really like to kind of get as hype as I can and get people involved and chat about silly things. And I like to laugh a lot. So
Yeah.
if you get annoyed by people laughing, my stream's probably not for you. Because I'm a big giggler. I like to giggle. It brings me joy. So those are probably the two things you can expect: casual gaming with a lot of ridiculousness, a lot of ridiculousness. And if you've stopped by my stream, people really like to throw things at me. And Jerma shows up sometimes, and he just causes calamity. So, you know that's what it is.
You also are lucky enough that you get to talk with your hands. I'm very much a
Yeah.
talk with my hands kind of person, but just nobody can see it because my hand is currently glued to my hip.
Is it? I thought you were gonna say it's glued to the table. Like, no.
uh yeah, no, I just got like gum stuck on my hand and now it's
Oh,
stuck to the bottom of the
just like,
desk. So now we're just like I said, fuck it, we ball. Also, thank you for the follow.
yeah. The one of the first buys I made when I started VTubing with this model was a Leap Motion,
Hmm.
because I don't remember how much I paid for it. It's gone
It's
down in price
not
because they're coming out
insanely
with,
expensive.
yeah, but they're coming out with a new one, and that's going to be even more expensive. But the tracking is going to be better. So this was the first gen of it, and that was like, I was like, you know what, this looks cool. If I don't end up really liking streaming, I'm sure I can use it for something else. I don't know. So I just kind of said, we ball, and I bought it. And so it's been a really fun purchase. It's not, like the best at
Yeah.
tracking, but you can get a lot more hand gestures and movements, and a lot more silliness out of it, than just me being like static all the time with my hands on my hips. So
I swear, like the 1% of Italian that might be in my blood somewhere is purely just the hand gestures that I make when I'm talking. Mamma mia,
yeah.
pasta fagioli, you know?
That's a spicy meatball. Yeah. See, I can't. It doesn't always register my fingers. Well, also, I only have 4 fingers in this model, so it gets a little confused sometimes. So it's fine.
But I disagree a little bit. I think you're a pretty good gamer. I watched you take out a boss
Oh,
your first try last night.
that
So
is true.
I
I
I
was panicking the whole time, but I did
you
take it out the first time.
you were panicking, but that's normal with Zelda because like I said, I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom right now, so running around all of a sudden seeing a Lionel and the Lionel one-shotting me is just like
No. Rip, rip and
that's
rip. Yep.
yeah, part of Hardened a Dream, exactly.
Yep. I had a half
That's
a
just
half
Zelda in a
health.
nutshell.
It was just beeping loudly the entire time, like a car alarm. Oh god. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate that. You should have seen me play. What was I playing last week? Portal 1. I think I died a lot in like some of the most simple puzzle rooms because
I
I was like, my
saw a
brain.
little bit of it, not a bunch. I'm a chronic lurker. Once upon a time, I was very very interactive, but now I just have like 5 streams up
Oh
in the
yeah.
background, and like earlier I had like 5 streams up, and I was playing Sea of Thieves or Zomboid or something like that, and just
Yeah,
like,
playing something at the same time.
and then I got a video about some video essay, and my brain is just my brain is a mess. That's
I don't
all
know
I
if I
gotta
can
say.
multitask that much, but
I mean,
understandable.
I put like one little tiny bit of my eardrum on this and then the eardrum on that, listening for cannon fire, and who knows what's going through my head, honestly. Probably nothing good. That's all I know.
Yeah, I tend to want to support so many of my friends, but they all tend to stream at the same time. I'm like, oh god, whose chat am I typing in? Oh god, what's happening?
Bro, that is my personal hell. The the love-hate relationship thing that I have with my circle of friends that I feel like I talked about in the past too is like I went from having very few friends to now I have so many people I call my friends, and now I feel like I'm not supporting this one enough, but I'm supporting this one more than that one. And I'm like, I'm
Oh,
sorry, time zones, come on,
time zones, and
somebody.
then when you get into, I mean, don't obviously you don't want to make poor financial decisions, but when it comes to like your friends running charity streams or subathons or
Oh,
whatever, I'm like, all right, you guys, let me bust out the cash. Here we go.
yeah,
Let's go.
when I have
Bad.
money, like I always throw um at donathons for like cool charities and stuff. I
Yeah.
always have to. I can't not. I mean, sometimes subathons I'll throw it at like my close friends, but donathons are that's where that shit's at.
Yeah.
Anytime
Yeah.
you're
Well, that
supporting someone else makes
yeah.
me feel good.
Same. Big same. Can't help it, but my wallet doesn't like it, so I'm trying to rein it in just a little
I
bit. Just a
know.
skosh.
I'm so sad that while I'm still in the interim of not having a job, like I had to cancel like all of my subs, and I'm like, I want to sub to all these people, but also I want to be able to afford food at the
Yep.
same
Yep.
time.
When I was trying to buy my house, I actually let my sub to Lasso, another person who you had on your stream. I let my
So next question for you.
sure.
When did you start making art, and what kind of drove you into that?
God. I want to say I started art in like not digital art. Now, this
Mm-hmm.
is before, so this dates me a little bit. This is before the kind of explosion of digital art as a medium.
Mm-hmm.
I started traditional art in notebooks and things like that in middle school. No, this was, I don't even remember when I was in middle school. I graduated high school in 2009, so it's probably somewhere around 2002, 2003. Um, just making comics, and I started off with those little how to draw manga books.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I'm gonna draw these little
Little
weird creatures
guys.
that I don't know, the little guys, yeah. And I'm gonna make little comics about them, and I'm just gonna trace it and pretend I drew it, because you do that when you're a kid. So,
Yeah.
um, but then when deviant art became kind of a huge thing at the time, I was like, oh, let me join deviant art, and I'll see if I can play with digital art. And this was before I had my own computer. This is when you
Mm-hmm.
had a family computer, right? And you had
Yeah.
the computer room, and you all kind of had to share the computer.
And you had the
So
computer that goes.
yeah, dial up, yeah. So when DeviantArt exploded, I saw a lot of people. This was also the realm of, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's called okekis. Is it like a Japanese word? Oikekis, whatever.
Hmm.
But they're like boards where you would join and you would draw in the board. Everybody could draw, but there was a website based on this one artist, and she had her own personal okeki board, and you had to be good at art to join it. You had to be good at art. You would have to try out to join the board, because there would be a regular art board and a beginner art board. And I was like, I don't want to join the beginner art board. That sucks. It's boring. Everybody in there sucks. So I was like, let me get better at digital art. So I opened up MS Paint, and that's kind of where I started the whole digital art thing. I was like, let me figure out how to use the pencil. Let me look up all the tips, and there's not much out there for it, but that's kind of where I started doing digital art. And I would just do art of my little. I had like a little wolf character for my. I don't even know where I came up with it. It was just a little wolf character named Rarf. So I think that's probably the beginning of my furry journey as well, rather. Um, and did I really say where, like werewolf? It's my brain. So I started drawing that character just kind of over and over. I would draw like more of those little manga anime creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started posting those on DeviantArt, and I was not popular. Nobody followed me. It's fine. But over time, I got better. Somewhere in 2012, I moved on from MS Paint to Paint Tool Sci. Started learning on things like pen pressure, because I had a little Wacom bamboo tablet, I think.
Yep.
Where it's not like a screen tablet, but it's like you draw down on the tablet, but it shows up on your monitor in front of you. And so I learned how to do that. And then eventually I moved from Paint Tool Sci to GIMP, and then from GIMP over to finally Photoshop when I was a little older. And since then I've been working in Photoshop because I don't feel like learning anything else. So, but I don't think I started taking like commissions up until probably a little more recently, maybe like 2015, 2016, when I actually had like a little bit of confidence in what I could do. So that's when I started doing commissions, and it kind of just evolved from there. I still try to learn and grow, and now I have too much art to do.
I was gonna ask if it started out as furry art or if it started out as that, but you kind of answered
Yeah.
that for me.
I was like half furry, half like anime, manga kind of thing. So kind of flipped back and forth. Kind of a mixture of
Yeah.
both. Because there would be little furry characters, but they would have the big anime eyes. You know, big sparkly anime eyes.
The start
Beautiful.
of the furry journey, back
Yeah.
when we were
It
all
was.
dorks in middle school and high school and the like. We all had that journey. My thing when I was a kid is I used to draw dragons.
Hell yeah,
That
let's
was my
go.
thing. I used to draw all kinds of dragons, and I will never draw again because I'm a perfectionist and I hate myself and everything I draw.
Oh no, you can draw. Anybody can draw. You can totally draw again. I believe in you.
Dragons are just cool, man.
Dragons are cool. I love drawing dragons. I don't get to draw them super. I get to draw one dragon very frequently because I designed that dragon back into like 2011 for this
Mhm.
person. And he commissions me very frequently to draw that character over and over and over and over. So very familiar with that one.
So then the next question is,
Mhm.
um, did you start streaming with your kind of after hours office party theme, or is that something that you grew into over time?
I did not start with that theme. That's actually a very recent thing that I started doing. I don't even remember what my theme was before it. But I just kind of jumped in and I think I was just trying to copy a couple of popular streamers in terms of I didn't really have a theme. I was just like I'm just gonna stream. I think I had like maybe like a little color palette because like I'm going with the oranges right now. That's gonna change eventually, but um, I had that color palette, and that's basically all I started with. But the after hours office party stemmed from the fact that I'm kind of now unabashedly a corporate wage slave. So I was like, I've kind of embraced it. I mean, I'm a I'm an HR professional. It's hard to escape the the corporate veneer, you know, that you fall under when you get into a job like that. So I was like, you know what, let's embrace it. I like we're in the office, we're having a good time, we're having a party, you know. So that's kind of something that I took on. I want to say within the last 3 or 4 months, maybe, and then I'm slowly planning on evolving it with my next set of assets and a technical I guess my first debut since I've never really debuted. It'll be a re-debut, hopefully slated for my birthday this year. If I can get
Nice.
everything done by then, I really hope so.
Don't stress over that stuff too much either, because like everybody, the debut thing and the re-debut thing, everybody always panics over it, and we worry about it. It's not that important. I started streaming before I had done a quote unquote debut with my
Yeah,
model, because like the debut is just like a fun little like lore drop, I guess. So if you have lore, then it's, I guess you can put some more effort into it, but if it's not something lore heavy, then it's just another day.
yeah,
It's just another day, another stream. That's the way I like to look
very
at it.
true. Very
Sometimes
true.
it's just get a little bit more structure to it. And me
Yeah,
having to talk about silly retcon things that I've done recently.
yeah. Yeah, I don't really I think I haven't really developed when I started streaming, I didn't really even think lore was a thing. And then I
Yeah.
realized like that's a big thing in the I don't even know what's the term for it for like the anime, the classic VTuber, like the Hollow Live. There's a term for it. And I don't remember what it is.
I just say the VTuber space in general.
Yeah, yeah, and that whole general space, everybody was like really heavy, and I've seen tweets about it. It's like if you don't have lore, this and that, and I was like, uh, there's supposed to be lore. Like, what am I doing wrong? So,
I
I have
feel like the
my
people
chat.
that are really lore heavy are the people who have 5 million OCs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think that there's individuals who they really focus on the lore when they see
Mhm.
themselves as a character rather than just like a sort of persona or fursona, if you will, if you're a
Yeah.
furry VTuber. Like this is their character that they're playing, and so yes, there's background, there's lore to it. But for me, this is just me, except I'm a cat, you know? Like
Yo, what up?
that's
It's
the lore.
me, but cat.
It's like that's about it. And so over time, I've come up with like little tidbits about like this little species I've got going on.
Mm.
And then the other day when I was playing Portal, one of my chat members suggested some really funny lore about this cat being an HR robot introduced by Aperture Science
Oh
to,
God.
to connect more with people because it's cat-like. And I was like, you know what? I might steal that. I might steal that. It's very
That's
funny.
not a bad idea. Yeah, no, we've
So,
chatted a little bit about that too, and how like some people are convinced lore is so crucial to it, but it really all stems on how you perform, if you will. Because at
right.
the end of the day, we're all performers, we're all entertainers, what have you. And if you want to spend your time acting with a different personality in a different voice and the like, then all the power to you. But it's
Yeah.
not something that's super important. Like I've talked about it in the past too with people who like to change their voice for streams. One of our favorite VTubers that me and some of my friends have, he started out like trying to do that whole thing, and then like a month in, he's like, "Yeah, all right, here's my real voice. I'm done with that. That's too much work." And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I feel you so much.
It is a lot of work to keep up something like that, I feel like. Well, and then like you create this kind of perception that it's hard to shake when you end up wanting to get kind of closer to somebody or make an actual friend out of them. They're like, "Well,
Exactly.
you don't actually sound like that. This is weird. My expectations are thrown off." So it becomes kind of a whole thing. So
I mean that just goes back to like a lot of the RP stages and like
mhm.
kind of stuff like that, which I'm very much like a you have fun doing that over there. I'm just gonna be over here being myself. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I have funny little lore that I wrote. I am actually rock. That's part of the reason why I have no brains. Um, but that's about the furthest extent that I'm gonna draw on most streams. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's I
It
love
becomes a lot of
writing the story, but that's not who I am as an entertainer.
yeah.
I like to just be
Totally
me.
understand.
Just be
Just be you.
free. Just be me.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, it's, the person that I was maybe like 10 years ago is not at all the person that I am now.
Mhm.
And I think I missed out on so much being myself when I was younger that now I just want to be kind of unequivocally myself. So it's like it doesn't make sense for me to just go from hiding in my youth to then go to hiding as an adult. No, I want to,
Yeah.
embrace myself. And that's also why, I don't shy away from people seeing real pictures of me. It's like that's me, but sometimes I'm a cat. It's fine. It's fine. Now you know what to expect. Don't get upset if your mind goes somewhere else and you expect something else.
Yeah, exactly. Being transparent is super important.
Right.
So what kind of drove you into the VTubing space, and what were some of the inspirations for this model?
Yeah, so this model didn't start off as a VTuber. This was just I was just trying to figure out a new persona.
Mhm.
And I really liked protogens. And I was like, protogens are
Yep.
cool. I like that they have the virtual face. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with them. But I was like, but cats are cooler. So I kind of merged the concepts and I
Yeah.
feel like I created something a little more original. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first like digital looking cat, but it felt more like myself. It's goofy, it's futuristic, it's technology, and it's cute. I think I'm cute. So
You're I'm gonna
yeah,
be honest, the first thing that I thought was just a flat protogen.
yeah, yeah. If you look at
A
my
protogen
face
that face planted.
kind of flat. It's like a bubble is kind of how I draw. I don't
Mhm.
draw myself from the side very frequently, but I try to envision kind of like the Daft Punk helmet, the
Yep.
gold one.
Yep.
That's kind of how I envision my face as
No,
as a
makes
general rule.
sense.
But
Makes a lot of
that's
sense.
flat protogen is way funnier. Um, but in terms of VTubing, I want to say that I ended up seeing and I will name drop because very large VTuber,
Mhm,
Whiskey Dingo. I ended up seeing his stream, and if you're familiar with Whiskey Dingo, he's a
mhm.
loud yellow dingo on the internet, and I was like, that's very cute. How do you do that? Like, how do people like? Is it like a VR thing? And so I started looking into it, and I just thought it was really funny. Like I was like, you're talking, but your voice and your movements and your facial expressions are coming out of this random little character, whatever you want. And I had a friend who was interested in modeling my persona for me. His name is Dad. He's very talented 3D modeler, makes a lot of VR chat and VTubing models. So I was like, hey, are you interested in trying this out for me? And he was like, yeah. So I took it and I had him convert it from a VR chat model over to something I could use for VTubing. But I didn't start off with this. I started off with face rig,
Mhm.
and I used that little white cat that just kind of moves its head back and forth and just talks. Like there's no real like hand movement or anything like that. It's just like a cat with a head.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is funny. And so I just kind of evolved from there. But I just thought it was cute. I thought it was a cute concept, and it didn't stem from a desire to hide my face, which I think for a lot
Yeah.
of people it does, because not everybody's comfortable showing themselves on the internet. I grew up on the internet. I really don't give a
Nobody wants
shit
to see
anymore.
this
But
face.
I'm sure your face is beautiful. Um, but
Ugh.
that's a big reason why a lot of people get into VTubing, because they're just not comfortable with that, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine. But me, I just thought it was silly, so I was like, I want to try this. It's funny. That's also why I don't mind having special streams where I do show my face. Did a baking stream a couple or what month was it? April, where I was in front of the camera for 8 hours just baking in my kitchen, looking like an idiot because I've never baked before in my life. What is the value of pi? Hey Google, what is the value of pi?
Here goes. Feel free to tell me to stop when you've had enough. 3.14159265392847932832781492307816406862808998620899862089986280.
Stop. So, but that's not a scary concept to me,
Nah.
and but yeah, I like cute cats, and I like being a cute cat. I think it's fun.
All right. So this kind of stems off of what you just chatted about a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
why did I ask the same question twice? That's interesting. I'm rereading my notes right now, and I'm like,
It
what?
didn't track for me, so you're good.
So
I have
as
faith in
someone
you.
who's done facecam streams prior now, um,
Hmm.
I asked what made you interested in becoming a VTuber, but we just
Oh,
asked that question. Um, which do you prefer more and why?
um, I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into both. So
Yeah.
for face cam, I like to make sure that whatever outfit I'm wearing or something is at least, like not not appropriate, but like it's fitting for people to see me on camera.
Yeah.
And I don't always dress like that. It's hot in my room. It's hot here in Texas, so sometimes I'll just like be in a tank top or whatever. And I'm like, this is not like stream ready me. So when I was face camming, I would always have to go, put my hat on because I like wearing hats or beanies or whatever. I would have to make sure that I don't look really tired. I have to make sure that my background looks okay, the lighting is good. And so there's a lot of work involved in that, just making sure that your environment in your room or wherever you're streaming from is set up for proper streaming so people can see you and everything. And then VTubing is separate, where there's still a lot of setup because you have to open all your
Yeah.
programs. You got to open VC Face, and I use Tifa, and I got to plug that into OBS, and then all my redeems and everything. So I think it's just a different kind of work, and VTubing just allows me to not have to go put on a different shirt. So
I feel
And
like that's a pretty standardized response across the board is like VTubing kind of gives me the opportunity to stream without wearing pants is the joke that a
yeah,
lot of people make.
exactly. And it's just it's work, but it's not something where you have to kind of do something to yourself in real life to make sure that you're presentable, especially for streamers who like to do things like wear makeup or they like to do their
Mhm.
hair. And I never gave that much of a shit about it, but
Yeah.
but a lot of people do, so they don't feel like that's just not something I feel like doing today, and you can VTube instead. So when I do my face cam streams, yes, I make sure that all my environment is good and I got the lighting and my outfit is good. So um, it's just a different type of work. But this work, at least, I can still remain cool and in my tank top and shorts. And if I get up to go use the bathroom, you don't see me walk out the door and maybe accidentally see me walk by in the hallway. So
Yeah.
it's, it's just a little more comfortable. I think comfortable kind of work. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's very much a work from home kind of
Yeah.
idea too, I feel like. Although I learned I don't like working from home after working from home. I need my
That's
socialization.
totally understandable. It's not for everyone, for sure.
So then the next question, we're going to skip around a little bit from what you see in front
Sure.
of you. What has been your experience with the VTuber community thus far? And is there anything that you enjoy or you think can be improved?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. So as far as the VTubing space, I've realized that it's not homogenous. I mean, there's so many. So you have VTubing as a whole, which to me is less of like a genre and more like a medium.
Hmm.
This is so you have it's like animation. Animation is not a genre. Animation is a medium, and you can have several genres inside of it. So that's how VTubing is for me. So you have VTubing, but then you have your anime VTubers like Hololive or whatever. I don't know anything about Hololive, but you know what I mean.
That's okay.
And you have your furry VTubers. You've got your just normal like OC, like these are not anime sort of style, but they're like my character or
Mhm.
whatever. There's like superhero character. You have all these little niches inside of that space. And to me, that was really cool because I was like, you can kind of just be whatever you want to be. As long as you can get somebody to draw your character or model it or whatever, there's like really no limits except for like TOS as far
Yeah.
as some outfits go. But you have a lot of power. Like I've seen some VTubers who are like, there was one that I saw the other day that was just like a duck. It was just like a little white duck, and it's just playing video games. There's a lot of power in that, I think. So my experience has been like there are a lot of groups, and which group you fall into doesn't necessarily dictate how you have to act. You can
Mhm.
also be like you can cross through them a lot. So you do have a lot of sort of anime VTubers who also have different models that fit into one of the other categories, and they swap between them. So it's interesting because a lot of people will talk about the VTuber space as a very general whole, and it's very hard for me to take them seriously when they do that. I'm like, you realize there's like hundreds and thousands, probably thousands of people in this space, all with different styles of streaming and content creation and what they do. You can't really you can't really lump them all together. It's not how this works. So when you see like things like drama going on, like VTubers are all weird because they do this, or I'm suspicious of VTubers because look at what these two VTubers did, or whatever. It's like you understand this is like a 0.0001% of this community, right? So it's like
Yeah.
that's one important thing that you have to understand going into it. As far as enjoyment, I think it's really cool that a lot of people like to collaborate with each other. I think that's a lot of fun when you get into spaces where you get a whole bunch of people together and you just do something silly, and you're just yourselves. You make friends and have a good time together. Like, I mean, we're sort of collabing now a little bit, so it's fun in that way. So that's probably one of my favorite things. Now, not everybody likes to collab, and that's really
Yeah.
fine. But to me, it's just a way to meet new people and share experiences and stuff and personalities, and I think that's a it's a little cheesy, but I think that's a beautiful thing. You know, it's just a brand new way to meet people outside of your day to day, and you know, pulling up just Twitter and just talking to some rando. This is a whole
Yeah.
other way to connect with people. But as far as improvement, I think people really need to be open to the fact that there are so many smaller creators that do not get the credit that they deserve for being as creative and as resourceful and as funny or just, you know, charismatic as they are, because they get so pushed out of the way by some of the bigger creators, which
Mhm.
the bigger creators are bigger because they're popular, they're funny, or they're, you know,
They're
they
playing the
fill a
meta.
need. Yeah, or they were there at the very beginning, which is totally
Mhm.
understandable. But when it gets to a point where it becomes problematic to me is when you have these huge creators with hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, and they don't go out of their way to then support smaller creators who are in a space where I'm sure they were once upon a time, you know, and maybe some of them do behind the scenes, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of bigger creators need to be more vocal about that kind of support, and, you know, connecting with smaller streamers, helping boost people who maybe want to get to that level that they're at. Even if it's not one on one, maybe saying, here are some resources that I've used. Maybe they'll be, you know, good for you. And I don't see a lot of huge people doing that.
Yeah.
Um, because I feel like they're just like, here's my audience, here's my community, I've collected it, and I'm good. Like I'm not interested in sharing, you know, my secret sauce, which
Hmm.
some people see it as competition, which I get. It's a very competitive space. But if you're going to be building a community where you feel like these people are there to support you, so you should also share some support downward as well. That's what you need to do, and you need to be very vocal about it. You know, doing it behind the scenes is great, but if you're not doing it publicly, then it's almost like you're not doing it at all, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that could definitely be more prevalent in the spaces. These bigger creators just sticking their neck out just a little bit for some of the smaller ones, and it could be friends of theirs. That's totally fine. I don't care if it's friends, but you know, you don't bring on, you know, constant big creator after big creator after big creator. You all have already have established audiences. You know, bring in somebody a little smaller sometimes. That's totally, you'll be okay. So uh,
Yeah, no, no, I get that entirely. And unfortunately, as someone who's been in this space and seen what I've seen over this time, I'm gonna be VTuber grandpa for a second. Um,
do it.
um, the issue with that is everyone assumes the second they open the door um, to someone else's content that everybody's gonna
Hmm.
run away to that content, just like you said.
Right.
That's the number one reason that's stopping people from opening up or giving out that little tidbit or what have you is I see, and I'll even go so far as to say I think that that's 50% of creators. I won't say that that's all of creators. I do
Right.
think that there is a strong number that is specifically, oh, no, I don't want them to steal my community. And I've had that experience too, where I've had viewers, I bring somebody on, that viewer goes to that person's stream and then never comes back to mine. So
Yeah.
even as a smaller creator, it's kind of scary with that. You just learn over time, hey, maybe I just wasn't their brand of content,
Right.
unfortunately. So
Yeah.
that's a hurdle that a lot of large creators have to get over because they're in their heads so much.
Yeah.
Like the biggest creators I find always have. I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. They're in their head the most. I feel like because
Hmm.
like I'm just daydreaming over here and they're like, oh, I have to do this to make sure that I get views on this, and then I have to make sure I do that, and if I forget to do that, then nobody will watch this, and blah blah blah
Right.
blah, blah, that kind of
It's a lot.
idea. It is a lot, but I understand that it's your life and it's how you make your money for a lot of those people, but
Hmm.
you can make money and still support other people. It's
Right.
the same
Exactly.
concept as a charity. Um,
Exactly.
you're you can still, I don't know.
I mean, you can
It's
still
a
do
tough
good.
subject. You can
Yeah.
still do good while still retaining your audience. Um,
Exactly. And
and
if you're a good enough creator, you will retain your audience. You'll be, you know,
and I
you'll
mean,
be all right.
I'm stealing people for content all the time. Look at me.
Steal them. Get them in
that
there.
that was my number one thing is I originally created this as a way to showcase other people. It's
Right.
never been about me, and that's how upfront I am with larger creators when I reach out to them. Is I say, this is not about me. This is not to get attention for me. This is purely so I can hear your ideas on this, or I can share your content with my community so they
Right.
can see if they like it too, and so on and so forth. And then someday will come the day where I'm funny enough that somebody will clip it, and then maybe I'll get bigger off of it. Who knows? I'm
You
not
never
very funny
know.
though.
Oh, you're hilarious. I think you're hilarious. It's great.
um, so we had a question that snuck in. Is there
Yeah.
ever a sort of break in suspension of disbelief whenever you see a VTuber's real person, or are you more like, huh, you really match your VTuber model?
I don't know if I've ever met somebody who matches their VTuber. I think everybody creates themselves in a way that they want to be perceived, and it, for the most part, it's not always congruent with how they look in real life. That's not to say that they're like ugly or anything, you know. But like, I have met some VTubers very recently, actually, and we went out to, you know, go have a good time together. I drove up to see them, and I was like, yeah, all right, it's fine, you know. You have a moment where you're like, you're not a cat boy, you know, but it's
Yeah,
you
exactly.
get over it very, very quickly, and especially you get over it if you have met friends from online before. Like my best friend of all time, who I have known for over, or not over, I think probably about 15 years now. Um, we first met on a forum, and the first time we saw each other, I want to say, was when we took a trip to Disney World together.
Mhm.
And I was just like, okay, that's what you look like. Let's go. It's, you
Yeah.
know, so, you know, you adapt pretty quickly if it's somebody that you're really, you want to stay friends with and you want to be familiar with. But yeah, I have seen a couple of larger creators that I watch. I don't watch a ton of huge creators, but every now and then I'll see what that they're doing a face cam stream, and I'm just like, yeah, that looks about right. I think that tracks. So, you know, the suspension of disbelief is not enough to like throw me totally off. And that's, you know, for some people, it's, they don't
Yeah.
like that at all. They're just like, no, I want to keep perceiving you as a as an anime VTuber or whatever. I don't want to see your
I'm
real
one of
face or
those
whatever.
people.
It's like, I don't want to see your flesh. Get that out of here.
I mean, I call them flesh tubers for a reason.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, but I can empathize with that too, because it's just like I talked about earlier when I met one of my best friends recently. I was I didn't know what to expect, and then I saw him, and I'm like, well, this is the voice that I know, and this is the voice that I've known for the
Yeah.
past like 2 years now. This is the person I trust. I'm hanging out with them. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they're not a big cheesy lion man.
It's all good. I
But
mean, you
yeah.
could still picture them as a big cheesy lion man in your head. Nobody will know. Nobody will know.
But there are definitely a lot of people that adapt their models to look like them. Like one of my friends, if you check out my YouTube and you see my friend Oni's episode, um, Oni actually made their model try and look a lot like them.
I love that.
Just they kind of, the way they described it to me is, it's me if I was a hyena.
That's so cute. I love
And they
that.
even like tried to go out of their way to like leave specific things
Hmm.
that really encapsulate who they are. And I had a whole conversation with them about this on that episode that you can check out there, where I was very much um, it was just a whole conversation about how you can find beauty in creating a character. You
Mm-hmm.
can then find yourself a little bit more beautiful by going through that way. Like a great example is I
Oh.
think I am terribly ugly. It is something that I've had to get through my whole life, unfortunately. But
Mm-hmm.
I like being a funny little dog boy on the internet. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if that's what it takes to really embrace the you-ness that is you, then
yeah.
that's totally fine too. I think that's a good way to sort of start seeing yourself in a different light and being like, you know what? I'm funny. I'm cute. I'm worth it, you know? So totally a valid way to start thinking more positively about yourself for sure. I look like this in real life. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
yeah, yeah, I got a
I
virtual face and everything.
you're just a flattened out protogen, like we said. You just face planted one too many times.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I don't ride skateboards anymore for that reason.
Me with Heelys.
Oh god, that's even more dangerous. You ever taken a
Oh my.
fall with a Healy? Oi,
I went down. I thought it would be a good idea to go down a hill in Heelys.
that's. I'm surprised you're still alive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've taken a bonk or two in my head. I'll be honest.
Oh
um.
goodness.
So then, next subjects I kind of pre-warned are a little bit hot takes, hot topics.
Let's go.
Don't get too mad at me. I promise.
I got all the hot takes. I got all the unpopular opinions. Don't even worry about it. Cancel me on Twitter. I'm just kidding. Don't do
Please don't. Um, as someone who is part of the furry community, what is your opinion on people adapting their persona to be a furry for views?
So I think there's one thing that people have to understand is that the furry community, for the most part, will tell if you're not being genuine about it. So
Mhm.
you see a lot of memes going around where artists who don't typically draw furry content, they're like, they make TikToks and videos and they're like, oh my gosh, did you know like being a furry artist, you could make like hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever? And somebody like posted a picture of like their obviously fake PayPal with like $99,000 in it from doing like lesbian furry art. And it's like, okay, but the thing is, you have to be good at it. So, and it has to be genuine. You know how like right now people can tell when AI art is obviously
Mhm.
AI. You can tell when somebody who's not really interested in the furry community is trying to draw furry art in
Yeah.
a very similar way. So I see that as similar to people who are, creating versions of their VTuber, persona or character into kind of a furry format, but they're not really clued into the actual community as a whole. You can really tell. And that doesn't mean that it would stop them from getting popular, but to me, it feels less genuine. It feels like I'm capitalizing on this community that I don't really participate in at all. But now there are people who get into that and then they end up being a part of the furry community, which is
Yeah.
great. I mean, it's a great way to kind of merge into that and realize that you really enjoy that kind of thing. You really enjoy the community, or you end up getting a fursuit if you really want to, but you
Mhm.
know and that's great. But I think over time you can tell when people are doing it just for the views, especially if they start doing really cliche things and just being over the top and maybe making furry jokes that are not always appropriate, and you're just like,
Yeah.
all right, like you clearly are doing this just to either, it almost seems like you're getting a laugh out of it, and that's it. And people are just like, haha, furry, or you're attracting another audience that is very adult in nature,
Mhm.
and they're there for one thing and one thing only, and now they can get it from a VTuber who's going to play into their very specific interests. So you have kind of both of those people who are making fun of you and people who are into you just because of that draw. And if that's all you want, fine. But if you're looking for a deeper connection to get invested in and have the furry community invest in you, that's probably not the way to go about it. Unless you're actually putting in like a genuine effort to really get to know the different corners of that community, and also be aware of some of the pitfalls of that community where it's, a lot of people outside of the general internet space are like furries are all deviants, which obviously that's not true. It's such a huge swath of people and
Yeah.
individuals, and a lot of minors as well, so no, not everybody is a crazy deviant. So, but you have to be willing and prepared for those perceptions when you go into something like that. If that's not something that you want your audience to perceive about you, you have to be familiar with those issues in order to be able to combat them or, circumvent them. So there's a lot of research, I think, that should go into it that not everybody necessarily does. But I mean, if all they want out of it is that they're trying to get a more adult audience and they want to appeal to an adult audience because that adult audience has a lot of money,
Mm.
you know, I'm not going to fault them for it, but it's also not going to be somebody I'm going to invest a lot of my time in as an actual person who identifies as, like part of the community itself.
Yeah.
I'm in it for friends. I'm in it for to support other creators as part of that community. So I'm not interested in throwing money at somebody who's just doing it for a giggle or, treating it kind of like a TOS friendly OnlyFans. So,
Yeah, and that's the dangerous part of it. I feel like that
right.
I get a little bit worried about is I feel like a lot of those creators are innately horny in nature. I'm gonna say it,
Yeah.
and they are
For sure.
very much. I changed this so I can get more NSFW, or I did this so that
Mhm.
I can show off my booba and people pay more attention to it. Like, I it, it frustrates me a lot as someone who is even looking from the outside because
Mhm.
I know people in the community and I know that that's not who they are all the time,
Right.
and the perception is being further driven in the corner of the joke that furries are always horny and always doing blah 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 at furry cons and stuff like that, and
Right.
it's not. Pretty much all the furries I know are like that, so
Yeah.
that's
And
like a
yeah,
1%.
it definitely gets frustrating, but I think when you are also part of the furry community, you have to recognize like that is a part of it, that
Hmm.
there is very large adult circles and they're really into what they're into, and that's just a part that you have to acknowledge. But if you want to distance yourself from that, you have to make an active effort to do so. Like my streams, I say famously, I'm not famous, but I famously moved from an 18 and up, thing where a lot of people, my age tend to do because they're just like, I want to be able to be, adult. I want to be able to curse and say my adult jokes or whatever. But I moved from that to a 16 and up model because I just don't make a lot of like adult jokes like that. So I'm like, well, why am I 18 and up? Because that's not a part of the humor that I'm interested in. So I'm okay. I'm okay with having teens, hang out in my chat as long as
Yeah,
they're, being appropriate and safe and, taking their precautions that they do in meeting people in my community. But it's a part that you have to acknowledge, and if you want to be able to distance yourself from that little part, then it is a conscious effort that you have to make. And I feel like it's okay if you are part of that adult niche. That's totally fine. But be honest about it. Be honest about it, embrace it, and don't, gather your audience with expectations of anything else. Because
exactly.
if you're gonna be a lewd tuber or whatever, slap that everywhere and be proud of it. Because
Just
otherwise
be
I feel like you're
transparent.
doing right, because otherwise I feel like you're trying to hide it because
Mhm.
it's not what your audience wants to see until they actually, until you start getting those really niche people in there. Um, and I think that kind of leads into that whole conversation that has been happening about like if you're 18 and up, make sure it's slapped everywhere, which I think is
Yeah,
very important to do because Twitch is full of kids. So, you
it
know,
really is, and no
like
matter what we do, they're gonna show up one way or
they're gonna
another.
show up. So if you have to protect yourself and protect them as much as you possibly can. Obviously you're not your parent, their parents. Their parents are responsible for them, but as long as you have your labels out there, like I said, embrace it, be transparent about it. Don't sell yourself as a somebody who's you know, appropriate for minors, and then all of a sudden do a heel turn in the middle of your stream, and you know, start making adult jokes, and you know, having interesting collabs with other people, and you know, so
Yeah.
just be open about it.
Yeah, transparency is something that we don't see enough and needs to be there more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one of my number one tips out there. Period. Is just be transparent, because
Yes,
the second that you aren't, you're going to turn into a person you aren't really.
exactly.
So, and also,
You're gonna get in trouble.
don't be a butt out there and make the furry community out to be something it's not, because
Right, exactly.
like we've said now, it's going to be very obvious to the people who already know.
Yep, yep,
So,
100%.
and I talked a little bit about some of the creators that I had seen out there before stream. Like I said, I'm not going to drop them on stream, but like I just want those people to realize the things that they're doing. Sometimes it's not as destructive as that, but
Mm-hmm.
it still feeds into it at least a little
Right.
bit. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something to be aware of, and even as viewers to be aware of, around content creators, is not
Mm-hmm.
only should the content creator themselves be transparent, but I like it when my viewers are transparent with me. If
Yeah.
I do something that is not something people are comfortable with, tell me. I,
Yeah.
I, I
Absolutely.
genuinely don't give a shit. I want to be a good person. Like
Right. Right.
I unless you make me like completely change who I am, I don't like who you are. Guess what? You're not gonna like me for the rest of your life then,
Right.
probably.
Exactly. You
I'm
want to
not
make sure
gonna
that what they get
change
is
everything,
what it
but
is.
I am always someone who's very transparent in the fact that I will cuss up a storm. I will make a
Hell
lewd
yeah.
joke here and there, but I'm not going to like rip my shirt off and say, "Hey, look at my booba, VTuber booba thread." Ah.
Well, dang, you spoiled what I just wanted to do now. I'm just kidding. I can't take off this shirt. It's stuck to me. It's glued
Good.
to me.
Keep it there. No more VTuber booba. I'm banning it.
No, no more. Illegal.
Legal. So now kind of bouncing off of that a little bit, just because, like
Sure.
I said, I'm not as familiar and you are. Um, do you find the VTuber, or the furry VTuber space rather, to be more or less welcoming to outsiders in your experience, and what has been your experience in it so far?
I want to say more only because the furry VTubing space came from an already pre-existing furry community.
Mhm.
When you think about like Hololive or like anime VTubers, it's not really a community that they
It's
source
idol
from.
culture.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that is true, but I feel like to me that reads a little differently
Mhm.
than like furry stuff. And maybe that's just because I'm more familiar with furry stuff, but
Yeah.
I feel like that the idol culture thing is built on one or a group of people being a lot bigger, being a lot more prominent, and being essentially, you know, worshipped for
Yeah.
who they are. And that's the core of it. Whereas the furry community is like, I'm a furry and I have friends and they come hang out with me. So it's a little distinctly different, you know, when you're coming at it from like a place like idol culture. The point is to get big, get famous, get a lot of fans, get, you know, have a lot of people hang out with you, and just, you know, build yourself up to be larger than life. Whereas, and I'm sure the furry VTuber space has kind of grown into that because
Mhm.
of its congruency to that space. But I think the way that it started is just people like, well, you know, I want to do this VTubing thing, but I'm a furry. So, brand deals. I'm sponsored by McDonald's.
No,
So
somebody get me your sub sponsor now, quick.
yeah, give her some right now. My
Quick.
flavor is mint. But, but it's like it just feels more kind of like a homegrown space to me. So to me that lends itself a little more to having more open friendships, more
Mhm.
being open to more people hanging out with you. and being open to having more people in your like little circle, your collective, rather than idol culture where it's like one person or just a small group of people that is essentially like a band, you know, like like Backstreet Boys but anime. So um I think to me it feels a little more inclusive, and that
Mhm.
again, that could just be because of my familiarity of it, but I think that's why I enjoy it a lot. And even though the people that I hang out with, that I collab with, that I go back and forth in between streams, they're all small streamers like I am,
Mhm.
but they're all very supportive because they're all familiar with the love that the furry community can really share with one another, in a holistic, wholesome way, not not
Yeah.
the other way. um and there's a lot of support for creators, especially because furries are notorious for being creatives. They do art, they do music, they do crafting and fursuits, and all kinds of different creative endeavors. So there was already a big support network there between friends that has sort of just expanded with the whole content creation realm, where it's like my favorite creator is now being silly and playing games and doing little kind of a show, and I want to support them that way too. So um i I think it's a little more accessible to get into, and a little more friendly in that way. But I am always happy for people to prove me wrong.
I would actually be very much inclined to agree with you. I think that in my experience, most of the furry VTubers. Oh, you're gonna make me do my tsundere face. um, Many of the furry VTubers that I've been around and seen
Mhm.
um, are very, very inclusive and very much like a wholesome, like chill space. There are obviously a couple that I know here and there that lean to the horny on main side, but like I said, that is very much a 1%. Very much like it's a much more welcoming and wholesome space that I've
Mhm.
seen, which I'm happy to see, honestly, um, because I feel like there's so many dommy mommies and femboys and blah 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 out there in the VTuber space that are very much just creating an innately sexual culture. And
Right, yeah.
I have talked at lengths about how much I don't like that. Like,
Yeah.
me and Lasso can joke about dragon girls like we did a couple weeks ago, but like that's not something that I'm going to focus my whole stream on. My
Right,
streams
yeah.
are meant to be innately informational, unless I'm losing my
Mhm.
mind at Apex. Um,
Very
which I
valid,
guess
100%.
I guess the thing that you learn there is that I'm very really bad at shooters.
You
So
it's okay, me
I,
too.
I I'm
But
happy to hear that from you and know that there are more out there that you've seen too that are like that.
yeah.
And also furries kind of rock because they have the coolest
Oh,
VR
yeah.
chat models. I swear to
Oh my god.
God.
Don't get me started on the insanity that is VR chat models for
Oh
furries.
my God.
They go hard in the paint.
They do, and I need to hunt one down so we can
Get it.
import me into the V space, if you will. Um, Now, moving along
$1 million.
past that stuff, as someone who often talks about work life balance, what do you think a safe balance is when you add content creation to it? So, for example, like I even wrote my little description. I might not be like this forever. I'm still out of work, so
Mhm.
I stream 3 days a week so that I can stay sane when I'm editing these.
Yep. That's totally understandable. And I think unless you are already big, it's very hard to stream 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Even a lot of big full-time streamers don't stream 5 days a week. You know, it's it's a big time sink and it's a big energy sink, and it is like a job for some people. So like it does take your energy. You do have to be, there's if you have a schedule, you have to do it every day. So when it comes to balance, I think it's really important, especially if you're only doing it fart time.
Fart
Part
time. Yeah.
part
Doing it
time.
fart time.
Then you have to be even more conscious about that balance because it is so incredibly easy to burn out. And if you're not aware of it, if you're not taking your precautions to avoid it, you will burn out. You will end up quitting at some point, probably, and saying, "This is too hard. I don't want to do it." But it's because you didn't put that forethought and saying, "I have to take care of myself too." You have needs. You have needs to rest and disconnect from being on all the time, and you know, go play a game without having to stream it sometimes. Some people like forget that you can play games and not stream it. It's totally okay. You can do it. So I think you have to come up with some kind of structure for yourself. So me, one of the biggest things when I did come up with the after hours office party is that I stream pretty much except on Saturdays. I stream exclusively after typical 9 to 5 hours Monday through Friday. So I don't stream every day, but
Yeah.
I usually stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday because yes, I do want to take those days in between to get my other stuff done. Um, but don't stream ever during work hours because that's the whole thing. It's like I'm at work or I'm doing work rather. I don't go to work, but I'm at work. I need to focus on my full time, which
Mhm.
is really my moneymaker, and that's where I get my ability to survive from. So my schedule is, I wake up at 6 a.m., which I didn't used to do, but now that I work from home, I can because I
Yeah.
just roll out of bed and I log on. I work from 6 to 2 p.m. I go take a nap. I get up, I make dinner, and then I'll stream. So if that means I have to stream a little later, which I've done before because I usually start at 7 Central, if that means I got to start at 8 Central, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the end of the world. The people who like to watch my stream will be there regardless. So, and if they have to miss it, that's okay. I got VODs too if they want to watch them. But you have to give yourself a little bit of flexibility for your life. Make sure you're eating meals. Make sure that if you have a set dinner time, stick to that dinner time. Don't interrupt your dinner time because I have to stream at the same exact time every single day. You don't. It'll be okay. it'll be fine. You just have to have the ability to if you do have a bigger audience or you have people who like to catch you regularly, just let them know. Have a
Mhm.
means of communicating that you're going to be a little late today because I just want to make sure that I get a full meal in and that I don't hork it down, which causes a whole other assortment of problems for
Oh
me when I
yeah.
do that. So
Ugh.
I try to avoid that as much as possible. And then again, if you do work an actual, full-time job or even a part-time job day to day, you work retail or, that should really be your focus as long as it's what makes you more money. Now, if your
Mhm.
streaming converts to making you more income, then yes, you can shift your focus over. But if you are surviving off of your paycheck from your day job or your part-time job or whatever, don't neglect that because you're in hopes that you're going to turn content creation into a full time. Yes, there is effort that you have to put into it, but if you're sacrificing the thing that's keeping you alive essentially for this hope that may not necessarily come true, and it sucks to say that, but it's true. I mean, content creation is, I mean, I'm a teeny tiny content creator,
Cr-
which is why I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket.
yeah.
I make 60K at my day job. Why would I, I'm not giving that up.
Yeah.
So, you have to be honest with yourself. Like, how much effort am I putting in? Is it going to be something where I can realistically convert my focus over and not have to sacrifice the things that are keeping me healthy and, not just physically, but mentally too? Because again, it's really easy to burn out on that stuff. So focus on your day job until you get to a point, you can start saving up if you want to focus on your savings for a little bit. That way, maybe you can a lot of people don't have this privilege, but maybe you can take a break from your work for a little bit to focus
Mhm.
on content creation. Take a vacation, a week off, and then just do all your content creating during your week off. Whatever you have to do, but don't neglect that side of what is keeping you afloat because that's how you get into trouble, I think. And there are people who kind of just throw a caution to the wind and decide to go run into content creation full time, and
Yeah.
God bless them, more power to them if that works for you. but you want to make sure you have a safety net. A lot of people who do that have a safety net in place. They're not living on their own. They're,
Yeah.
either living with their parents, or they have roommates. They don't have, maybe their car is paid off. Maybe they don't have, or maybe they already have savings established. If you don't have that safety net, doing that is probably one of the most dangerous things that you can do, because then you burn out of content creation. You realize you're not getting the results you're hoping for. You end up quitting, and then you don't have your job either, because your job starts noticing that you're, neglecting your responsibilities over there, and then you're kind of sunk on both ends.
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest things. If you are going to, commit yourself to a schedule, make sure there is time to focus on your work if you do have a job. And if you don't, that's fine. Make sure you also focus on yourself, your health, your safety, your mental wellness, especially. If you like to take naps, take fucking naps, dude. I love taking naps. I take a nap every day of my life. And it's okay to rest. It's okay to rest. Don't stack your schedule so thick, which is, it's even a bad habit for me. I mean, like I said, ostensibly I'm working 4 jobs. I do art, the streaming, I got my day-to-day, and then I do freelancing. So it's a lot, and it's very easy to burn out. So ingrain those breaks, ingrain those rest periods where you don't do anything, where you just let yourself exist, and it'll be okay. You'll be a lot healthier for it, and your content, if that's really what you want to do, will be better for it too, because nobody really wants to watch somebody who's stressed out and frustrated and burnt out and exhausted. It's hard to get into people who you feel like they're struggling, because it's like, well, are you even enjoying this? So, consider yourself. Be nice to yourself.
Exactly. And something that I'd build off of that even is the second that content creation starts feeling like a job, unless it actually is your job, um, you're overworking yourself.
Right.
Because I used to work a full-time retail job, and then I called this my second job at first as a joke, and then I realized I was calling it my second job because I was burning myself the hell out.
Right.
So
Because it felt
I
like a second job.
exactly, like, oh, I have to go home. Oh, I have to stream this, even
Yeah.
though that nothing might happen. I have to do it, and
Mhm.
that's something that I've gotten looser on myself about. Like,
Right.
some of my content is taking off now, which is cool, but
Yeah.
it's very much not my job,
Right.
because I am not receiving the income that I made
Yeah.
when I was working at that job. So uh,
Yeah.
that's very much a thing. Now, in your perspective, and we can do a little conceptual. What do you think is a safe conceptual schedule for someone who is posting multi-platform, but has a 40-hour week every week?
Oh, jeez. Multi-platform is very hard. I will tell you this because I post a TikTok maybe once a month.
Yeah.
So, I just posted one a day. It it's very challenging, because what you want to do, so the stream itself, or the bulk of what you're doing, so if you're streaming or if you're creating videos for YouTube or whatever,
Hmm.
that's what you want to focus the bulk of your week on, right? So for me, I stream 3 days a week. So say that, and I think even 2 days a week is better for somebody starting out. I think
Hmm.
that's a safer, that way you're not freaking yourself out having to stick to 3 days a week. Like I started off, I think like 2 days a week as well. And, that's a good 2 or 3 days a week. That way you have those days in between each day, to rest and reconsider, watch your VODs. I think those are also good days to do some of that multi-platform stuff. Like if you're going to edit your VOD, post it to YouTube, or just even because what I do is I just export them and I just slap them on YouTube with a thumbnail. I don't edit mine because I'm terrifyingly lazy, and that would take a lot of work, that I don't have time for. So having dedicated days for doing that stuff is good, and it doesn't have to be the same day every week. Look at your week, what's coming up. So say, I'm streaming this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right, that's my schedule. What am I doing on Saturday? Do I have to get something else done? Do I have to do my chores? Because especially if you work a 40 hour a week job, if you're commuting, you don't always have time to do those house chores, right?
Mhm.
So the weekend is your time to do those, you're cleaning, you're doing dishes, you're doing laundry, whatever, which is how I was when I worked in an in-office job. I had zero time to do anything on the weekends because it was all my chores. So look at a day, if it's either a weekend or one of those days in between, where you have time to sit down for maybe 2 or 3 hours and say, right now, I'm going to block off this amount of time to edit some TikToks or even just make one, or edit a VOD that I have or start working on, a video instead of a stream. So dedicate one day a week where you're only going to do that and you don't have a stream scheduled or you don't have something pre-scheduled to do. That way you can focus on it and really put all your productivity and your effort into that small task, because this is something I'm actually doing a training on for my employees at work, is that when you multitask, you are worse at what you're doing. So people say, "Oh, I'm really good at multitasking. I can do this." It's like, yes, you can do multiple things at once, but are you performing in a way that you would be otherwise if that was the only thing you're focusing on?
Yeah.
And most of the time it's no, you're not. Your attention is torn, you're not paying attention to the nuances, the details. So if you have time to just focus on that one thing, and it doesn't even have to be a long time, it could be an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, if that's all you have, just do that TikTok or do that YouTube short, or you draw that little thumbnail for your YouTube video, whatever it is. Focus only on that for that amount of time and don't plan anything else if you can help it. I know sometimes people can't help it, but that one thing, if you focus on that, it'll come out a lot better than you would have otherwise trying to fit that, at multiple times, bit by bit throughout the week, trying to slap it in there at some point, And then, of course, as always, throughout the week, you need to have a day where you do not create. And I know that's very hard for like high functioning people in general, where they always feel like, I gotta produce, I gotta do so, and I'm one of those people. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's hard for me to just be doing nothing because I'm like, I could be working on that commission right now. I could be, scheduling my VODs for later, or I could be, doing this or that. It's like, it's okay. I'm just gonna open up Fallout and I'm just gonna dick around in Fallout for a couple hours. It's fine. So work that into your regular schedule. Again, the important part is not having those things on the same day every week. They can be a different day every week, but have a set, amount of time that you're planning on doing that for, where you're resting or you're just focusing on those extra platforms that is not your main,
Mhm.
and that's a better way to get into a flow of it, because like I said, if you're trying to fit everything on one day, or you're trying to fit multiple things in one day, it gets very hard and it gets very frustrating when you don't get as much done as you want to get done.
Yeah. And when do you schedule screaming into the void? That is my nightly ritual.
Yeah, I was like, I do that on
Um,
stream. If you watch my streams, that's just me constantly.
But yeah, no, definitely. And like one of the standardized things that I feel like I've learned, and it's something that a lot of large creators have dropped even, is if you're multi-platforming, you shouldn't be streaming more than like 3 days a week.
Oh yeah.
A lot of creators have kind of dropped the, oh, well, I'm putting out a YouTube video and I'm doing TikToks too, so I have to put 2 of those days to strictly video content creation or what have you.
Right.
Um, so
Yeah.
that
And
is
as you get
why I've changed too.
bigger, yeah, and as you get bigger, if you have the disposable income, bring in people who can help you. I've had a friend of mine edit some of my TikToks for me. I pay her to do it, so I can't always do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But every now and then, if I'm just like, you know what, I'm not feeling like doing it myself, and I have a couple extra dollars that I can use to support their work, can you make a TikTok for me? That's
Yeah.
totally fine. And you're supporting a friend in the process. You can have people help you or work out like a barter system. Like you do something for them later if they'll do a little thing for you now. That's totally okay too.
Exactly. And that's actually like a standard across the board. I feel like is
Mhm.
very much the trade system is pretty prominent actually in the arts community
Yeah,
altogether.
absolutely.
So there's always something you can give.
Yep,
Um,
yep, yep.
so moving on a little bit. What are some tips that you may have for people who are getting anxious when their content doesn't get as much attention?
Oh boy. Number one, stop caring. I'm just kidding. Uh, that's kind of a part of it. You have to
Yeah.
not associate. It's very hard to do. You have to not associate your content performance with your worth as a person. So, like I said, I am a small streamer. I'm barely like sub 400 followers on Twitch, 600 followers on Twitter. It's not a lot, you know? But I put things out there because it's like, I freaking had fun doing this. This is stupid and I love it. It's great. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out into the void and maybe somebody will maybe somebody will like it. And once I toss it out there, I'll check back on the analytics sometimes because like I said, this isn't my full time. If you're trying to make it a full time, the analytics are definitely something you want to be a little more plugged into,
Mhm.
but you also have to be the kind of person who like you're able to take constructive criticism from yourself. So if your video doesn't do well, if your stream is only having like 2 viewers or 1 viewer, even, I definitely went a long time where I only had 1 or 2 viewers, and sometimes I
Yeah,
still do. It's
definitely.
totally fine. And that doesn't dictate me. Like, I know I'm funny sometimes. you know, I make good stuff occasionally, and a lot of people connect with it, and not all of them can be there all the time. But I know that I've connected with people, and that enough is to me to keep trying. Because there's more people who I can connect with out there, and I know there is. And you have to have that mindset where it's like, you know what, that video didn't do too well. Let me think about that. What's in it? What can I maybe attribute to it not doing too well? What are the things that did do well? What do I find that seems to be drawing more people? And then maybe let me adjust my formula a little bit. So you have to be open minded to adjusting how you're viewing content creation, because maybe what you want it to do, it like more often than not, it's not what draws people in. And a lot of people get really discouraged about that because they're like, I really like playing this one shooter or whatever. And you get that with a lot of like face cam streamers that are just starting out, where they're really in like this, like the shooter streamers where they're really
Yeah.
into COD, or they're really into Apex or Overwatch or whatever. And they start out and they're like, nobody really is, showing up to my streams. And it's like, well, first of all, it's a very saturated field. So
Yeah.
second of all, there is something unique about you, and either you haven't quite found it yet, or you just haven't, been putting yourself in the right areas yet.
Mhm.
So there's always more that you can do to draw people into your stream, but you have to be willing to put in that effort. If you're just saying, I only want to play COD, I don't talk to my chat at all, or maybe I only chat with my friends when they come in, or maybe I don't really care about the lighting in my room, whatever, but you realize that that's what's causing the issue and you don't feel like fixing it, then there's not really anything that anybody can do for you. So,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, um, if you're streaming for the pure fun of it, then that is, that's all go for it. And, for me, that's kind of part of why I do it, is because it's fun. But, it would be nice to make a little bit of side income, which I do. Just, it's not a lot. It's maybe
Yeah.
like, for the sake of transparency, it's maybe like $100 a month, not even sometimes.
Give some kitties
So
some food.
yeah, yeah. Who wants to buy me food? Buy me some
Oh no,
McDonald's.
I meant you're giving the kitties food with it.
Oh,
Yeah.
my actual kitties. I was like, me? I'm hungry.
I mean that too. That too.
But yeah, it's like, you have to know what your goals are, and you have to be willing to change and adapt and grow and evolve to actually meet those goals. Unless your goal is just you just want to be on camera, just funsies, and you don't care how many viewers you have, then more power to you. But like I said, you have to disconnect your performance analytics wise with your self worth. It doesn't mean you're not funny or people don't like you. It doesn't mean that you're a bad creator. I mean, a lot of this is also just a luck of the draw, a luck of the algorithm, the discovery. Twitch doesn't have great discovery, and neither does really
No.
YouTube. You have to be putting yourself out there constantly. You have to be meeting people who can maybe get your name out there, and vice versa. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and you have to be able to take a poorly performing piece that you put out and say, how can I improve this? It's okay that it did what it did, but how can I improve this? And not this bombed, and I feel really shitty about it. It's like, you don't have to feel shitty. It's just, you did a thing and it's out there, and it's probably
Yeah.
great, but you just have to put more effort in finding your people, essentially.
To be blunt and transparent, I'll say this. Clips are king. And
They are,
if you
yeah.
aren't getting
Totally.
clipped or you don't have clips,
Clip
that
yourself.
is honestly where half of your audience comes from. Is,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I did something silly. Like, I just made a really weird slurping noise earlier. I hope nobody clipped that. Um, and
And
that's
it's
where.
okay to clip things yourself. It's okay. If you thought it was stupid, go clip it yourself.
I'm stupid as hell. Have you seen this guy?
Yeah.
He's got nothing in his head.
Yeah. I still clip a lot of my stuff on my own because I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember I did that and I thought it was funny. Maybe nobody else thought it was funny at the time, but I did, so I'm gonna clip it. So, and
Oh
it's,
yeah. I find all
it
my
does help
jokes funny. That's the problem.
good. But also put a clip redeem on. Once if you get to an affiliate status and you can do redeems, put a clip redeem. Makes it totally easy for people to do it for you. Put a cooldown on it. I had somebody speak
Yeah.
the other day and it was wild.
Oh my gosh.
Had like 10 clips of just me doing nothing. I was like,
Just you sitting there.
just I love it.
Tasty content.
Yeah, right? I'm gonna put this on TikTok. I'm sure it'll do numbers.
It's literally that meme. Oh yeah, this is doing numbers.
This is doing numbers. Oh my god.
So now another kind of hot topic for
Let's
us to
go.
bring out is, what do you think is a safe balance of parasocial interaction with your chat?
It's a great question. That's a great question. Let me get into the weeds on this one. I make a lot of jokes on my stream where
Yeah.
I say, if you're 18 and up, you can be as parasocial with me as you want. But I'm not serious.
Yeah, no.
To me, when you're a smaller streamer, it's very easy to make friends through your chat. A lot of the people who catch my streams regularly, I feel like are my friends because they hang out in my Discord. We talk about a lot of stuff. We share art. And I know them by name. They become very familiar with me. There's some in your chat right now, probably like Sharadiza, Mocha, Tanuki. These are all people who I become familiar with because I see them regularly. But I think when you get to a certain level of viewership, that becomes almost impossible to do. So you end up having, like, of course, these little cliques, these little friend groups that you developed over the course of when you were much smaller. And those are kind of the people that you stick around with, that you become familiar with. They end up becoming your mods, or they get VIP, whatever. And it's a lot easier to become familiar with them when you're streaming and you say, oh, hey, this person, I'm going to say hi directly to you. But if, you have 70 other viewers that you don't really know, you're probably not going to say hi to every single one of them. But as far as like interactions that borderline on like inappropriate, I think as a content creator in general, you have to be very aware of who you're talking to, inside and outside of your stream, what messages you're giving off, and how people are responding to them. My hand flipped around. People are responding to them. So you have to have a level of emotional intelligence to be able to draw boundaries when they need to be drawn, and to say, this is okay, but there will be a line that could be crossed, and I need to be aware of that. So if you don't have that capacity, it's very easy to get in trouble, especially if you have minors in your chat or your channel, or in your Discord, wherever. I run into a lot of issues where, or a lot of drama that I'm not involved with, but
Yeah.
you get into. I just swallowed a bit of my gum and it was awful. I see a lot of drama in Discord servers apparently because it's outside of the public view a little bit, where the creator, the content creator, or even maybe they even aren't a content creator, but they're just somebody who's a little more popular or familiar in the social media or whatever. Most of the times they create some kind of content, whether it's animation or music or streaming, whatever. And they get in trouble because they think this is my Discord. I can do whatever I want. It's not in public. I can talk to people, in certain ways. And I don't care how old they are. I don't have to be aware of that. I don't have to be, this is my space. And if somebody does something wrong, it's on them. Well, no, you're very much responsible for your space. And this is how you get Google Docs that are 20 pages long of these people who are like, this person talked inappropriately to a minor because they're an idiot. So it's like everything is online now. It doesn't matter if you got a private Discord or whatever, if you're in a Twitter circle, whatever the hell those are, I don't even know.
Yeah.
You have to be conscious of the interactions you are having online in general. And you have to be able to say, hey, I am an adult. This is something that maybe we shouldn't be speaking about, or this is something I'm not comfortable with, or this is something that is inappropriate for somebody your age to be talking to me about. And I'll share a story. Recently, so I'm a part of also the I'm very new to it, but a part of the Warrior Cats community. Don't ask me questions, but
Oh no,
so
we can have a conversation about this later, because I have some experience.
oh my god, yeah. So the Warrior Cats community is huge. They have a huge animation community on YouTube where a lot of animators get together and create like animated music videos with animators creating different parts for each part of the song, whatever. So when you're creating it's called a multi-animator project like that, you create a Discord server and everybody, you organize people that way. And there was one creator who it came out recently that I'm not going to name them, but if you're
Yeah.
familiar with Warrior Cats animation, you probably know who they are. It came out that at the age of 20, they were having inappropriate conversations with I want to say they were 14 or 15 years old at the time. And they were sharing inappropriate images and, just having conversations that are not what you should be having with somebody that young, if you're, that's the big of the age difference. And a large part of it was because that person was so popular on YouTube that they felt like, this person, I can take advantage of because I'm popular, I'm important, and nobody's going to say otherwise because and this kid is not going to say otherwise because they want to be like me. They want to emulate me. They like the content I create. And then that person got in trouble because it ended up coming out that the age difference, and now that person's disappeared into the void because there's not a way to recover from that. And of course in different spaces that you could, depending on what's shared, it can also be illegal. It can get you in trouble. So you have to be cognizant of that. And as soon as that information came out, I went into my own server that I have an animated project in process, and I said, hey, I do not abide by what this person did. My community is safe for everyone of all ages. And if you are ever spoken to or have an interaction with somebody, whether it's in here or not, but that person is in my server, please tell me. They will be removed. I don't care about their status. I don't care about how good of an animator they are. I don't care how many followers they have. I don't care if their fans are going to come at my throat. They're not welcome in my community. And so you have to be willing to take that stand and say, this is the line. We will not cross it. And if somebody decides to cross that, you have to take action and say, you're out. I'm sorry. I don't care how much money you give me. I don't care if you're a 1 million tier sub or you
Yeah,
gifted
exactly.
a jillion zillion sub in my channel. You have to put that line and be willing to stand up for it, or else you will get in trouble. 100%. It may take a while for it to come back, but it will come back to you. So when I joke and I say you can be as parasocial as I want or you want with me as long as you're over 18, it's a joke. And I have friends who are in my chat, but the second if I felt like that person was crossing a line, whether it's with me and my line for personal interactions with me and other adults, it's like whatever, we're joking, silly, but if it turns out that that person is young, I'm gonna say, I'm 31 years old and I feel like there are a lot of people your age that you can go talk to instead. I feel like this is not something that I don't really want to get into a deep conversation with you because I don't feel like that's appropriate. But
Yeah.
here are some resources if you're, something that's specifically for people your age. Here's, a charity that works with the issue that you're having. And, because I growing up, I had a lot of people who would be like, I'm in an abusive household, and or my boyfriend is, saying this and that to me and whatever. And I'm just like, this is not a conversation I should be having with you. I'm not your parent. I'm not your mentor. I'm not a counselor. But here are some things you can consider going to. And I welcome you in my chat or my stream or whatever community that I'm in. But please keep that stuff to the people who are prepared to deal with it,
Mm-hmm.
which most people on Twitch are not
No.
prepared to deal with. So I'm, like I said, I'm always willing to draw that line with people. But if you're over 18 and you're a friend of mine and we're totally familiar with each other and cool with each other, we're gonna get a little silly sometimes.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you have to be cognizant of the boundaries that, especially boundaries that other people play, even other adults. If they're not comfortable with you joking with them in that capacity, then don't
Yeah.
do it.
And I've had to be transparent about that a couple times too.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the real challenge that's going on in the overarching internet society, if you will, is the capability that a lot of people are having of going past those boundaries
Right.
and being able to come back with a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening a lot lately, and it needs to stop
Right.
because once you fucked up bad enough, you gotta realize that you're done. Like,
Yeah.
don't keep coming back in because people are gonna know what to expect again, and it's just gonna.
Oh yeah.
It's. I'm not pitying or giving anything to anyone who's done dark shit, but after you've quote unquote rebuilt yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to get torn down again. And I'm never of the mindset of, I think that people should just feel bad about themselves. I do think that people should get the ability to come back to themselves mentally.
Right.
However, I don't agree with those people being able to come back into the space. I
Right. And
think
have a
that
platform.
a lot of those people need to just leave. End
Go
of
away.
story. Just like literally, like there was
Something else to do.
there's a VTuber that there was like this whole thing. I'm not a big gossip girl, but there was a VTuber who did some stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then went into freaking false ID's stream pretending that he was somebody else, and
Oh
and
no.
then blocked false, and it was a whole thing. And they're like, dude, we know who you are, just give up already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
People
we
will
don't
suss you
want
out
you
for sure.
here. And that's the big thing too, is don't go straight back to edgy creators like that because you're feeding into the idea that it's okay, and
Yeah.
it's
That there's no
still
consequence.
happening to this date. I don't think I understand that you're a creator and that's where your income is, but like some of the things that that person did, I don't really
Get a
feel like
job.
they should do that anymore. Guess what?
Get a normal
We've
job.
all had to go back into food service or retail and start over
Yeah.
again. Honestly, uh, taking a break from the internet and content creation can sometimes drive out the best in you.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Like I make the jokes of going back to school and doing crazy things, but you know what? If I actually did, I might be able to do something with myself instead of slacking off all the time.
You know what? It's okay. But yeah, those kinds of people, I mean, they've already proven that they can't be trusted with the amount of attention and the power that they get. So what, don't keep giving them that ability. You know, they can do something else. They will be okay. Especially if they were as big as that. I'm sure they still have some kind of income stream
And a
and they will
lot
survive.
of them have jobs prior and like good
Yeah.
jobs. They just are like, oh, now I can do content creation for a living instead. So I'll just
Mm-hmm.
go
But
do
yeah.
that. Like
There's a
in order to get
responsibility that comes with
into a bigger space like that, you have to have certain level of talent.
that. Right.
Um, and you're not just throwing away your talent by moving on from content creation either,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe that wasn't the way that you were supposed to make your living. I
Right.
don't know. That's my hot take corner. Flame me all you want. I really don't care. When I don't like someone, I don't like someone.
I'm writing a twit longer as we speak.
Oh gosh. So moving on from some of those tougher topics. Um
Mm-hmm.
I think I asked Lasso about this a little bit too, but I'd like to hear
Yeah.
your side of it as well. Um what is the clowder and how did you originally get involved?
Yeah. So the Clowder is a group of vtubing cat streamers and creators, and I was originally invited by Black Cat, I believe. So I caught, I think I caught Black Cat stream once or twice. I honestly don't remember how I saw those tweets of hers, but I think once I popped into uh, her stream a couple times, she tossed me an invite, and she's like, "Is a stream team full of cat creators like you?" I was like, "Oh!" And I had been looking for a new team because I was originally part of the Storytellers. And I don't know if you're familiar with what happened to Storytellers, but
No.
creator the creator team founder ended up being a freak.
Poo poo head.
So the whole team fell apart. And I was like, I don't really want to be associated with this. So I left and I was like, I mean, I don't do a ton with the stream team anyway, so it's not a huge deal. But when I saw that they did charity stuff, especially with my background being in nonprofits, I was like, let's go. And so I joined. And then that's when I joined the first charity raid train that they had. And so the Clowder does a lot of charity raid trains basically. Uh, they schedule out a group of streamers for a solid 24 hours. So it'll go from like one day straight into the other full 24 hours, with each streamer having a stream of about 2 hours. And then when that stream is over, they go into the next person on the list and they raid that way. And all throughout, every one of those creators is raising money for a specific charity. And the one that I participated in, I think we were raising money for best friends animal society. Um, and it was a charity that I had suggested because I was familiar with it, and obviously it's like it's a rescue dogs and cats kind of thing. And I thought that was cute. My cat is being silly. I thought that was really cute, and so it was probably one of the greatest events I've ever taken part of. I didn't stay up the whole 24 hours. I really tried, but I'm an old person. I like to sleep. But the Cloud is just full of so many fun and genuinely nice creators, like, and that's how I met Lasso. He had to remind me of it the other day because I was like, how did we meet? Like, oh, louder, dumb. I was like, I'm sorry, I forget. I just thought we were best friends for like the last 30 years. But yeah, and I've met so many wonderful people. I mean, I got more familiar with Black Cat, there's Lasso, and then I met his wife Cactus as well. And there's Darius the Snow, and my mind is blanking. Bent Cat is also one of the founders. He does a lot of really cool motion graphics work and stuff. And there's just so many people in there with so many different styles of content creating that it really does lend itself to something like a charity raid train, because you never really know what you're going to get in the next 2 hours. And if you don't get a chance to donate to, because we all use the same fundraising link, so if
Yep.
you don't get a chance to donate during one stream, you can donate during the other. And it all helps a little bit. And even for those individuals in the Clowder who maybe don't raise a ton during their part, I think that's totally okay, because a large part of nonprofit work is the awareness and just getting the name out there too. So everybody who participates is always so they're so excited for the events and stuff. And they actually have one coming up, I think, next weekend, the 24th and the 25th. But it's always I won't be part of it because I'm gonna not be here. I'm gonna go see Hamilton. But it's always a joy, and you just have so many different personalities in there. And I have not once encountered somebody who I was like uncomfortable with or I wasn't sure of. I think they're all wonderful people because we're all doing it for the love of charity and benefiting, organizations that we really believe in. So the Clowder is a wonderful team, and if you're a vtubing streamer cat, join us. Always welcoming new cats.
I mean, I'm half cat, but that's
You
about it.
you could say you're half. You could say you're half cat.
I am. I'm a lion dog.
Oh, there you go.
I have the cheat code. I have the cheat
All right,
code.
get in there then.
No. I'm definitely I'm looking for I've been looking for a team for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be fun to have, and it makes it easier to communicate with people too. So it would make
Yeah.
my job here easier too, because there'd be people in
Yeah.
there. So once again, GamerSup sponsor me. Twitch teams, holla at me. You know how it is.
Wendy's, what are all the big Taco Bell?
Wendy's, I'll take a Wendy's. Hell yeah.
You'll take a Wendy's sponsorship.
Hell yeah. Give me a nice Baconator. I'm all for that. Baconator and a Frosty. Hell yeah.
Oh my god, that sounds so good right now.
Oh, that would be so bad for me, but it does sound good. So moving on to some of our last couple questions as we start to
Yeah.
wrap up. You seem to do a lot of short form content that I've seen, some really good clips and stuff. What do you think are some of the most important things for clips or short form content?
So any short form content. So clips, you can't always control what people are going to clip, but the clips that you want to put out there, you have to make sure that they have a little bit of your personality in them, because if it's just you playing a game and you're not saying anything and maybe you just got a cool kill or whatever, like that doesn't really tell people about you. So a lot of my clips, a lot of my TikToks are me laughing at something really stupid, because that's what I do a lot. So like one of my TikToks, I started off making like kind of longer TikToks, but they don't work as YouTube shorts, so now I make like under a minute stuff. But I would compile, before I moved onto YouTube shorts, I would compile some of like the dumbest moments in some of my playthroughs. So like I have a longer one when I was playing Bendy and the Ink Machine and Security Breach, where I would just like clip the glitches that happened and just me laughing like an insane person at them, like, because that's pretty much the essence of what you're going to get when you come into my stream is me, finding something really funny, laughing a lot, playing funky games, and that person who's watching that TikTok will get a little snippet of what I'm about in that short form content. God. So if you remember nothing else about making like clips and TikToks and YouTube shorts, make sure it has a little bit of your personality in it, and it doesn't capture something that you're not really known to act like. So if it's, if your brand is wholesome and cozy and stuff, make sure your TikToks are also wholesome and cozy and maybe a little silly. If your brand is, I'm an angry gamer who likes to scream a lot, make sure that that's what your content is. So, your content in short form has to match your content in long form, or there's going to be a weird expectation, and people are going to get turned off, because if they like what you're putting out on TikTok, then they're going to go to your stream and want more of that same content. If you're being silly on TikTok and then they go to your stream and you're being really serious and you're talking about hot topics or drama or politics, and it's like, this isn't really what I thought I was going to get when I got here. So that's the most important part, just making sure you capture your personality in just little snippets. Just being freaking a silly goose,
And for some people, it's as simple as they have a very like recognizable laugh or something like that. I unfortunately just sound annoying, so I'm not lucky enough.
I don't know if I have a signature laugh, but I definitely am a laugher. So
yeah,
it do happen.
as long I like that. That's not necessarily a way that people have said it for me in the past. So I like the mindset of keeping it uniquely you, because if you don't and somebody finds it and then they find you and that's not who you are, then they're not going to stick around, obviously.
Right. Exactly. Because if they're clicking through to your other socials, it's because something about that content attracted them. So it's got to be similar. It's got to be similar. You can't be wildly off base. Otherwise, people are going to be like, wait a minute, is this a different stream? What am I clicking?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. That's the tough part of making something like this talk show too. I almost feel like because people come here and expect a certain out of me
mm-hmm.
sometimes, and I can't give you my full personality on talk show because I want to showcase another person. So I
Right,
don't want to
yeah.
draw too much attention to myself and make funny noises or what have you. Um,
You should just have like buzzers on your desk and just like hit them for like different sound effects, like we're on the radio.
uh, so, what is, if you can think of just one tip that you had for a VTuber or a content creator that's just getting started?
Don't put all your eggs into the content creation basket hoping that you will get money, because it can, like, if you've been doing it for a while and you realize, like, let me see if I can turn this into a viable stream of income, that's one thing. But if you start streaming, you start creating content, you start editing videos, whatever, just because you feel like you can make money, you will fail every time. Every time, because
Mm-hmm.
people will immediately pick up on that and say, this person is just trying to get money, because you end up doing things that you wouldn't do otherwise. You end up, you know, doing content that gets views because it gets views, not because it's good content.
Mm-hmm.
You end up, like, I was talking about this TikTok the other day that I saw. It was circulating on Twitter where this guy was just staring into the camera, into his ring light, and he was like reporting on some kind of current event, and he was speaking gibberish. He was saying, Livy just rizzed up baby Gronk to join LSU. And I was like, what the fuck are you
I
talking
I don't know and I don't like it.
Right, exactly. And I was just like, this person is very clearly, like, he has no personality. He's just saying words. And like, yes, I know what he meant. Some person named Libby was convinced some kid who goes by the name of Baby Gronk, which I think is the son of a football player named Gronk, to join LSU, is like Louisiana State University, something like that. Anyway, I deciphered it eventually. But that they're just doing it because this is something that will get them money, because the TikTok is going to be watched over and over and over because it's obscene,
Yeah.
absurd, and obscene. Um, and you can tell. I mean, this man was so soulless. He was just staring at me saying these things, and I was like, I'm scared. I don't know, I don't know what's happening.
I mean,
But
perfect example even is my hit TikTok that I don't even use TikTok. I just have like one TikTok that has like 1,000 views because I was just saying some stupid shit, and then
right,
I made like a funny picture, and that for some reason got views. So we'll take it, I guess.
right, yeah. But when somebody starts doing that regularly, it's when you're
Yeah.
like, obviously this is just reviews. They don't give a shit about what they're putting out. They're just putting things out there and seeing what. Mom, come get me. I'm scared. They're just seeing what floats and what gets them money. And so if you start off that way, you're gonna either get made fun of. You're
Yeah.
not gonna make money after maybe like a first viral hit. You'll make like a viral hit at most. That's if you get lucky enough to catch that lightning in a bottle, and you'll never do it again. Um, and then you just come off as not genuine. People don't want to get to know you. People don't want to collaborate with you because you're weird.
Yeah.
You're weird. So don't go into it hoping that you're going to make money. Go into it to explore how you can make that medium your own. And then if you realize that you're finding success in it, or that it's something that you are in tune enough to think like, maybe I can turn this into a part-time or a full-time job or whatever, then you can take that leap in that direction. But don't start off that way, because you will burn out, you'll hate yourself, you'll hate your content, and you're going to get popular for the wrong reasons if you get popular at all. And
Mhm.
then once you're ready to, say you start off making a bunch of money from delivering TikToks such as that man, what if then you want to start creating content that's more true to you? Nobody's going to want to see it because they're expecting this other, trashy content that you've been putting out that gets you views or money or whatever. And then you
Yeah.
can't be yourself. You can't embrace what you feel like you want to do to get that joy out of that content creation. So don't go into it thinking you're gonna make money. I still go into it not thinking I'm gonna make any money. So when I do, like, if somebody subscribes to me, I'm like, oh my god.
That's crazy.
I just like, whoa! I get all excited. Um, Even when I get like rated and stuff, that's not even money generating events that happen. I just like I lose it. I'm like, holy crap, So if you go into it finding the joy in like the actual things that make the content, fun, then you'll do good, whether it's getting the enjoyment out of it or getting the income out of it. You have to start with a good foundation.
All I know is if anyone ever catches me say Riz unironically, block me on the spot.
Delete
Please.
me,
Like,
unsubscribe,
cancel
unfollow.
me on Twitter, even. Like, if I say Riz unironically, I actually want to be sent to an early grave.
Yeah. You don't want to rizz up baby Gronk?
No, I don't. The problem with going strictly for the inauthentic viral hit is it's a lot like being typecast in acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we said, it's just now you're always going to be that one guy who talks like this.
Yep.
And then when you want
That's all
to
you're allowed to
do this and giggle and laugh, then people are like, who the hell is this guy? And why am I
do.
watching him?
I'm leaving.
Who's
This
this
is weird.
positive guy? I came here for this really depressed newscaster. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Depressed. They got that rust. Oh god, bro. He's
Oh, no.
Oh my god. Yeah. But yeah, go into it with just your passion in mind.
Exactly. Now for my cheat code.
What's your cheat code?
My cheat code is this is how I find more people without having to do the work myself.
Okay.
What is one suggestion you have for this talk show or a guest that you would like to see invited in the future?
As far as a suggestion goes, maybe a little light piano music in the background. Just some gentle accompaniment. That could be nice. I always like having music in the background when I'm chatting or just hanging out and stuff. But I always have like really high octane either future funk or party music playing. So
The only reason I don't is because I'm already having a war with teaching myself how to edit from scratch. So
that's true.
audio levels I've already gotten screamed at by one of my mixer friends because they're like, bro, what were your audio levels? All right, this is what you need to do every single time. So I go back to that DM every single time I start up a new project so that I make sure that I get the exact number they told me to and everything.
Understandable, yeah. It's a step by step, but yeah, that's the only thing that I would think of. I think this format is really nice, and I like being here. But as far as somebody who could be on this, I would definitely recommend if you can get Black Cat on here. She's another kitty streamer, of course. I'm more familiar with kitty streamers, but she kind of fills the niche of a more not that I'm not wholesome in my own way. She's a little more wholesome. She's a little more cozy. She's a little more chill. And she has built a community that is genuinely so kind to each other. I don't think I've ever been in a kinder community. Like, her mods are wonderful. They have watch parties in their Discord, and everybody's so nice that I love watching stuff with them because they're always so funny and cute. And I want to say she's also I think she's family friendly, which is very hard to find.
Yes.
These days. Because a lot of streamers are like, I'm 18 up. I don't want to say my swear words or whatever. But she doesn't do swearing. She's friendly for I think all ages or 14 and up. Something like that. But it's just genuinely a much safer space, and she's very kind to everybody who comes in, and she plays a lot of really silly games. She's very interactive too. So that would be one person I think you should get on here. I'm sure she has a lot of perspective, and she is also a Black creator, so that's another unique perspective that I think we don't have nearly enough of in the VTuber space. So the more Black voices, the more POC voices that we can highlight in the VTubing space in general, I think is always a good thing for sure.
And there's definitely some recent conversations even to be had that can be built off of, that I would definitely love to hear a different perspective from. I'm just looking stuff up right now, so I have links.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, no, I'd love to. I'll check them out and I'll shoot them a DM and we'll hope that see what happens. And
Yeah.
I'll throw their links up as well as your recommended creator on the VOD.
Yes.
But other than that, is there anything that you would like to self promo here at the end?
I promo myself. No. Well, yes. Yes and no.
Yes.
I don't think I have any special events coming up. I do special event streams sometimes, like when I
Mhm.
reach 500 followers. I am going to do a live stream from the zoo, the local zoo here.
Hell
Because
yeah.
I've also done a stream from Disneyland. I did that back in February, and it was a blast. So I love doing these live streams where I just take people around. So anyway, I don't have any of those coming up. But one thing that I've been doing for my Twitch subscribers is that I was treating it kind of initially like a Patreon system, where if you subscribe to me, you will get art every month that you are subscribed. And because of Twitch's recent, like, we're going to take a lot of money from you, I'm now moving that over to Patreon. So
Mhm.
I will have a Patreon going live in July. So if you like my art, if you've seen my art, if you like it, that would be number one way to get some art from me on a monthly basis, and also support me in the process. I'm always, everything that I do is pretty much solely supported by the people who either watch me or commission my artwork or whatever, because my day job goes to like my bills.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
all my side work contributes to all the fun things that I'm able to do,
Like the Wendy's cheeseburger.
like the Wendy's bacon is now available. Have it with a junior vanilla frosty. I'm just kidding, but yeah,
For
so
that
would be
premium
fun.
grass touching.
Yeah. Listen, y'all gotta give me 500 followers, then we'll go touch some grass and see some elephants.
Elephants. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, that's gonna
some
be
elephants.
crazy.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
local zoo here is great.
if that is up by the time that I get this edited, then I will try and remind myself to slap it into the links below, or if it gets put up after and my smooth brain remembers to add it, then I will add it as well. We will see
I
how my
appreciate
brain
it.
goes, but at the very
It's okay.
least, all of socials will be dropped below the VOD so that you can find Tej. For coming by. Y'all are pretty cute.
Thank you for having me.
You probably smell good. I don't know, some weird like that. You know the sign off. Everybody gets astonished by my sign off.
Hey, we're good sniffa appreciators over in my stream. All good. We enjoy the good snooters all
See,
the time.
I also do that, and then everybody's like, "See, you are a furry," and I'm like, "No, I'm not," because
No.
I guarantee you, if I even tried to act like it, a furry would tell me otherwise.
It's okay.
Just because I got a big old fluffy tail doesn't mean I'm a furry.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming by. Make sure to check out the homie. See you later.
Yeah.